We have a massive Orioles trade update involving one bullpen arm, and one catcher is back on our IL. What is Mike Elias going to do at the trade deadline to maximize the Baltimore Orioles' talent this season? Welcome to Orioles Digest. I'm your host, Kam Brice, and we have a lot to talk about today. Trades, big moves. The MLB draft is coming up, and the Baltimore Orioles start a doubleheader against the New York Mets today. Right now, they're in the top of the seventh inning. The Mets lead 1-0 over the Baltimore Orioles, and it's a disappointing offensive performance once again. Without further ado, let's get into our first topic of the day, an Orioles Digest that a lot of people have been wishing for years. Yes, the Baltimore Orioles finally let go of Brian Baker today. So, when do we ever see trades in the division? So, let me break down this trade. I have the whole details for you guys. So, the Rays are finally getting bullpen help in Brian Baker. We obviously know Brian Baker's stint with the Orioles has not gone well. He was sent down to AAA twice, came back up, had a couple of good stints. His best stint, I think, was in 2023. He was really good, had a 2.98 ERA. Then he went to the Texas Rangers and he kind of imploded that whole series. And his ERA was sitting at 13 that whole divisional series in which the Baltimore got swept. And the Rangers obviously went on to win the World Series that season. Now, he's a 30-year old, 38 innings this year, 3.52 ERA. I feel like we put Brian Baker in so many situations to succeed this year, and it didn't succeed. Now, the good thing about this is the Baltimore Orioles get that 37th pick in the draft. And I want to talk about the draft a little bit because a lot of people might not know the MLB draft. It's kind of discombobulated as during the season, and a lot of people don't know about the prospects because they're so young. But the Orioles have four day one picks in this draft. Remember, Kobe Mayo, Gunnar Henderson, they weren't a first round pick. Those guys are second, third round picks. So the Baltimore's can find, say, a young pitcher from the Big Ten, ACC, or even at or coming out of high school at 18-year-old that's topping out at 102, has fastball control, and is 18, and we can develop him. That's a stint. I think in this year's draft, the Orioles just need to go out and just get arms, young arms. Because you got Brian Baker, you got rid of him, and now you have draft capital. And we know Mike Elias loves draft capital. And I've said this times and times before. When you give the Orioles draft capital, they turn into something big. So now we're thinking of this window. The Baltimore is to get four, maybe five decent players in this draft. Matter of fact, say if they just give one ace level pitcher and he could probably be up by 2027, 2028. That's a formula building your prospects up because the Baltimore's prospect system is not as big as it was a while ago. So I just think that this is a good trade for the Orioles, for the Rays. I'm not sure how the Rays are going to feel about this trade because Brian Baker is just terrible in high leverage situations. And the Orioles needed a guy for the seventh or eighth set up Félix Bautista because Yunier Cano has not been that guy. And it's just they don't have that guy in the bullpen right now. And coming into the season, I said the strongest suit for this Orioles team was going to be their bullpen, but I've been very disappointed in how this bullpen's been playing. And obviously, the offense is taking a step back. So this is not that big of a big move, but Brian Baker is finally gone. I'm just tired of seeing Brian Baker walk guys in the seventh, blow leads. Like, it's ridiculous. The Orioles in the top of the seventh had a 6-2 lead over the Mets. Brian Baker comes in and messes it all up. I think that was just a breaking point for the staff. It should be like Brian Baker needs a new situation. Hopefully, he can turn his career around, and hopefully, one of those draft picks that the Orioles trade for Brian Baker, they can obviously turn that into maybe potential star. But you never know how with the MLB draft. But we have other moves to get into. Yeah, we're going to talk about Gary Sanchez. Gary Sanchez is out 6 to 8 weeks. The Baltimore's have five catchers on the IL. It's ridiculous. And then Adley Rutschman has just started his training program. He says he's feeling a little bit better, still not 100%, and there's still no timetable when he will return. So Adley's not going to be back probably until after the All-Star break, a little after the All-Star break, and then Gary Sanchez is out 6 to 8 weeks. So about 2 months right there. So you don't have a backup catcher. Now your backup catcher, you brought Chadwick Trump, who's also dealing with back discomfort, and you got Maverick Hanley, who's in concussion protocol. I'm not sure how long concussion protocol is because Maverick Hanley's probably been in concussion protocol for the last 2 weeks, but I guess it's different in baseball. Anyway, I think I said this earlier. I did a tweet last night. I've been that active on social media. If you guys follow me, I'm sorry. I just been working. It's been very busy schedule. I just said this team is just not talented enough. Coming into this year fully healthy, this team, I thought, one of the best rosters in MLB, one of the best rosters, one of the best lineups. You got Jackson Holliday at the one, with the nine. You can put Cedric Mullins, you Kobe Mayo. You have so many Randall Hearn. You have Gunnar Henderson, Adley Rutschman. So many different components with this team, and it was like, oh, we still have Heston Kjerstad looking over. That ship has sailed. Kobe Mayo is starting to develop it, but still he's not getting everyday opportunities. Jackson Holliday just started to get everyday opportunities. He's turned into a superstar. Gunnar Henderson is struggling, having a down year. Adley Rutschman has just not been healthy. But look at this below: 12 games back out of first place. Out of the wild card, we're sitting around 7 to 6.5 games. Last month, when we had this video at the beginning of last month, I told you I'm gonna come back to this. 5 games or 6 games from the All Star break, we're going to evaluate the Orioles season. And today we're going to evaluate the Orioles season. And it has much to do with this guy. Sorry. This guy. Yeah. The Oreo bird. The energy, the vibe, it's just done. So I think you got to be sellers at the deadline. You have to be. There's no other excuse for the Baltimore Orioles. You have to be sellers at the deadline. This is what this team needs to make. And I feel like for Mike Elias, he has to go out, make this the best draft you ever had because you're in the hot seat. You're in the hot seat. I've seen a lot of fans saying fire Mike Elias. And if the Baltimore Orioles do not make the playoffs next year, Mike Elias and his whole crew will be gone for deserve because this is unacceptable. To have a team, to have a window like this in 2022, you set the foundation up. You had it for 5 to 7 years of winning baseball, 80, 90 wins every single year. And the one thing that you didn't do was sign an ace level pitcher, sign another high level bullpen arm, get a guy like Josh Hader, get a guy like Blake Snell. I'm upset because this team is so talented and they have so many young pieces, but I feel like the front office is not doing their part. And I keep saying it, they're not doing their part. They're not doing their part. And it's never going to end until I feel like a new ownership or a new GM brings in a new scouting department, and it might just be Michael Elias has to go. Maybe Michael Elias was just this guy to build the draft capital up so another GM could take the reins off. It happens in sports all the time. So why do we keep strangling this team, hoping Michael Elias is going to figure something out when it's already been 2 to 3 years and we haven't won a playoff game? And that's very confusing to me. And I don't know what the Baltimore is going to do at the trade deadline. Michael I said they're not going to be sellers. They're going to be buyers. They believe in this team. But you're 7 games off the wild card spot. Unless you go on a 20-game win streak, you're not making the playoffs. Thank you for joining Orioles Digest. Like I said before, hit that like, comment, subscribe. Turn on post notifications. Catch game 2 of the Mets versus Orioles that's projected to start at 5 p.m. Eastern Time today. From Orioles Digest, I'm your host, Kam Brice.